No, I didn't watch Biden's State of the Union address. There was nothing in it worth listening to. Nothing. It wouldn't be real news. In fact, I haven't listened to the news for 5.5 years now. Haven't watched any TV. Don't plan to the rest of my life. This is the one way you can take back your own power. Turn off the TV for good. Stop watching the boob tube. Right there, you're going to eliminate a lot of anxiety and dread that fills your brain every day, your subconscious and your unconscious mind. Television is a drug. It drugs you out to watch TV. Endless garbage, a vast wasteland, propaganda, commercials, rhetoric from politicians and pundits, newscasters, scripted across the board. You can go down the line all around the country. They're saying the same thing with the same script. You know, what they were telling us the other night was that in Russia, this was just a video I happened to see for a few minutes. I do watch a few YouTube videos, a couple a day, not every day, but every now and then I'll flip and watch one. Recently, I haven't been even watching many of those at all. But I watched one the other day because I was just a little bit curious what was going on in the Ukraine, and I found out nothing new. As soon as they end the news horror stories about the pandemic, then they got to introduce a warlike action. These guys are players on a stage. Putin, Biden, the North Korea, China leaders, all the leaders around the world, they're puppet players playing a game. It's a win-lose game. It's meant to be win-lose. There's never going to be a win-win situation with political leaders in geopolitical countries, this sort of thing in the world. And certainly within the United States of America, we got our own problems. Lots of them. Because you see what's happening is the upper class, the higher elites, and I mean the highest of the high elites, they got their boots pressed way down on our necks today. They have for a long time. They don't want to see the middle class of the world strong. They want everybody ultimately to be poor, to be slaves to their system. The United States of America, Canada, Mexico, all the countries over here in the Western Hemisphere and Europe, we're all going to be in a system very similar to what they have in Red China, Communist China. It'll be a little different. It'll be a Western style version. It's going to be implemented very similarly, a social credit score system. It's already being rolled out. You already see it in Australia and a lot of European countries. It's going to happen. It's already happened over there in China, Vietnam, North Korea, and it's going to be happening across the board. You're going to see more and more government intrusion into your life because government wants control. They're not going to be happy until they have the noose around your neck and they can tighten it whenever they want. They've done that. They've proved they've done that already with the pandemic the last 2 years. They've said, you got to distance, you got to wear a mask, you got to get a vaccine. And of course, people did. They got right in line and did it because they were afraid. So much anxiety, so much fear. And why is that? Because people watch television. They believe that we get legitimate news here in the United States and in the West and Europe. We don't. It's just the same propaganda they serve up in Russia and in China. In Russia and China, they tell their people that we're getting all the propaganda. Here, they tell us that they're getting all the propaganda and lies by their government. We're all getting it. The feed in the West is a lot different. It's commercialized. There's a lot more of a quasi-freedom, but it's not true freedom anymore. The only freedom we really have, and you have, and I have, is our freedom of our thoughts and our mind, our consciousness. That's the only real freedoms we still have. They've taken away most of our other freedoms. Right now, it's getting to the point you're going to have a vaccine passport to go anywhere and do anything. And they're talking about freezing people's bank accounts. Well, guess what's going to happen? It's already happening in Canada. People are taking their money out of the banks. There's going to be a run on the banks, and it's going to cause a collapse of the economy. Of all the economic systems will collapse. The stock market will collapse. If they keep rattling sabers over there and threatening World War III and getting more people worked up, ultimately, whether they launch nukes or not, I'm very doubtful they will do that. It's just rhetoric and talk, fear-mongering. They're going to collapse the system. There will be more cyber attacks. They're ongoing 24/7. Red China, Russia, cyber attacking the U.S. Guess what? U.S. is doing the same thing right back at them. Same thing. Cyber war. And eventually somebody's going to crack somebody's nut and all hell's going to break loose. The economic systems will be exploited. Wall Street will crash. Once that happens, your fragile capitalist system, it's crap. It's down the toilet. It's going to be gone. And they will implement a social credit score system. And basically, it's going to be people on welfare. Government will give you a little bit of money to go out and buy some groceries and gas. You won't get very much. And that's only if you keep your nose clean and your social credit score system is good. If you step out of line and do anything you're not supposed to do, you don't comply with things that they tell you got to do, you're done. They're going to cut you off. Folks, I'm telling you right now, this is a time to dig down deep as a prepper, learn how to grow your own vegetables, how to be self-sustainable as much as possible, band together in your own community with your friends and neighbors, family, friends, whoever you can make connections with. Find solidarity there. That's where it's going to happen. No longer can we trust big government. The big government leaders are all liars, vandals, thieves, corrupt, psychotic individuals. That includes the American politicians, Republican, Democrat, the same. They are the same side of the coin, folks. Let me show you. This is what, see this penny? This represents the Republicans and Democrats. There's your head. There's Lincoln. Okay, the Republicans get to be Lincoln, and the Democrats get to be whatever that little shield on the backside is. This little penny's not even worth a real penny. It's mostly zinc, not much copper in it anymore. It's a sham. It's a house of cards. It's going to collapse. Jim Morrison said, I want to get my kicks before the whole shithouse goes up in flames. Maybe you want to think about that too. I mean, I think it's a good time to just disconnect from media altogether and devote yourself to some spiritual practices, health practices, whatever that is, nature if you can get out, weather permitting, commune with your friends and family. Take care of yourself whatever way you can. If you can get out of the workforce and retire, I recommend you think about doing that. That's what I did. I'm no longer a slave to the labor force anymore. Thank God I don't have to do that. Most of you out there are still having to do it, or you're in school or whatever, depending what your age is, what your situation is. You have obligations, I'm sure. Try to laugh more, folks. We got to laugh every day a little bit more. Laugh at ourselves. Laugh at our world situation. Don't take it all on your shoulders that you got to fix all the problems in the world, because you can't do it and I can't. Nobody can. Nobody ever will. These problems didn't just get here overnight, and they're not going away overnight. They won't ever go away. As soon as one problem, supposed problem is solved, like, oh, now COVID is solved, we got rid of it for a little while until next fall when it'll all come back again. So you get a little breather for a while. So they got to introduce this whole idea of maybe World War III. It's nonsense. Nonsense, folks. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Theoretically, almost anything can happen. There's a possibility for anything. I mean, an asteroid can come back and hit the Earth again like the dinosaurs were wiped out and wipe us all out. Anything can happen. Certainly nuclear war could happen. The likelihood is very, very small. This is just a big platform, a stage for these world leaders to spout off and play this win-lose game. There's got to be a loser. It's like a wrestling match. WWF, World Wrestling Federation. And Russia is painted as the bad guy today. And so Biden goes on. He's got a platform. He's talking to however many, 40 million people maybe tuned in to watch that. I don't know how many. Tens of millions tuned in to watch the president read a teleprompter poorly. This man is 80 years old, or just about 80, somewhere in there. He's very fragile. He's just a puppet, a figurehead. He's not really a leader. He's got people behind him telling him what to say, propping him up with adrenochrome, no doubt. These are awful, awful people to put your faith in. That's all I can say. I don't have any faith in the world leaders today. I don't have much faith in my state government leaders either. I have faith in myself and the people that I know I can trust and believe in. And that's that. I have faith in my own consciousness, and I know that I control my own consciousness to some extent. You know, we're all pretty much programmed and conditioned and brainwashed somewhat, as we have been our whole lives, especially if you watch any television. I'm still getting, basically detoxed from television. 5.5 years I've been off it. And my brain is still somewhat affected from it after all those years of watching it. All that negativity, all that fear, all that garbage, useless information that spews out of the television. The Frank Zappa video, I Am the Slime, is one of the best, most truthful videos ever made. And when they aired that back in the early 1980s on Saturday Night Live. They cut the video before it was supposed to be over. Frank was still singing. The slime was coming out of the TV. The censors cut it. They said, enough. We can't keep showing this. It's ridiculous. Here we are in 2022. They're still censoring us even more today than they did back then. It's worse than ever. YouTube is just worthless today in terms of the information because they censor so much. Google the same way. They censor so much. Your government is censoring you. They won't let free speech happen. If you try to convene and have a peaceful demonstration, they're going to find a way to turn it into a negative. The media is basically biased all the way in favor of the elites against us. So we got to cut our ties with that and find better ways to communicate with each other across the board and band together locally at community level and have a grassroots movement that we hope one day can possibly generate a political party that could actually win an election and put somebody in power and office that would be competent, trustworthy, honest, and would have a good heart and want to do some good in the world. But I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening in my lifetime or even many years after I'm gone. I don't think that's a realistic possibility. The Republicans and Democrats, these little cheap bastards that are the same coin, just the flip side of the same coin, they're the same thing. Think of it that way. They're like the good wrestler and the bad wrestler in the ring. At the end of the day, they're shaking hands, making money, going to the bank, laughing at everybody out there that believed there was a difference between them. So it's time for you to wake up out there. If you haven't already, go smell the roses, smell the coffee or the chamomile tea, whatever your preference is. But be aware, folks, that we are being lied to every day in the media. We have been for a very, very long time. And we will continue to be lied to in the media. So pay attention to what really matters. Find some good books to read. Get off the screens now and then. Give yourself a break. You deserve it. We all do. Let's stick together, folks, because as human beings, we can make a difference in the world. But we've got to start at home. Every journey of 10,000 steps, starts with a baby step or two. But those steps can get bigger and bigger as we go along. Bless you all. Peace. Namaste. Be well, live long, and prosper.